Are you struggling to publish profitable books? Would you like to know how to find profitable niches in self-publishing? Then stay tuned to today's podcast. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, where you'll learn to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable author brand. Before we jump into things, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is brought to you in part by the DIY publishing course Unlimited. That's lifetime access for those of you that are not in the know. If you would like to get access, you want to go visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to the DIY publishing course. You might ask, what's the DIY publishing course? Listen, this is the catch-all, everything that you're going to need to know within the world of self-publishing, and it is a course that is quite possibly the most comprehensive publishing course you're going to see on the market today, and it continues to grow. If you'd like to get access to the lifetime access again, head over to DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast to get 10% off. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about self-publishing a book on Amazon. We're going to focus on this area and researching profitable niches. Now, you might hear me from time to time, I'll say niche. Either way, I'm just saying categories and the specific area that your book should be related under. So the big problem is a lot of people are either low sales because they probably didn't utilize the right niches, or they didn't pick the right ones, or they went into something that was not very profitable. Either they got unclear direction. Maybe they even have overwhelm. I see so many authors and aspiring authors, more importantly, that get overwhelmed. They're like, well, mine's a genre bending, book. It goes underneath science fiction and also knitting. I'm kind of like, so there's sometimes that overwhelm and again, unclear direction. And sometimes there's those that want the path of least resistance. And hey, kudos to you. And I can respect that, but it's the other lot of people. And I'll talk about each one of these pain points in specific and in particular. So we'll get to each one of those. Let's talk about overwhelm. If you're new to the business, it's going to feel like trying to learn a brand new language. In between abbreviations like KDP and ACOS and AMS and AA and all these type of things, and then having to figure out, what does royalty mean? When do I get my paychecks? I heard I have to market through this way. I don't want to market that way. I heard I could get banned if I have 2 accounts. Oh my gosh. If you're new to this business, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I would say the very first thing, what I would recommend to you as a newbie is write the content first. Get that part of the process nailed down before you start thinking about the next step. There's going to be some people that will argue against what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you that it has not led me astray as well as any of my coaching students. If you just take it one bite at a time. If you're an established self-publisher, believe it or not, there actually are some established self-publishers that have been around for longer than I have, and they are still overwhelmed. And that's okay. It's just how you cope with that overwhelm that's going to hopefully get you more success in this business. And that's ultimately what we're trying to shoot for. So overwhelm can happen. Unclear direction is the next thing. I know there's some people out there that don't like to set goals. They're like, Dale, I don't set goals because if I don't meet them, then I feel bad and then I quit. Well, if you try to mosey on about from one thing to the next, you're not going to get very much results. I want you to think about goal setting kind of like a dartboard. You want to make sure that you see where the bullseye's at. You don't want to have a blindfold on. You want to look at that. Everybody's trying to shoot for the bullseye, typically. It depends on the game that you're playing. Either way, we're aiming for that bullseye. So I'm like, I want to aim at that. That way, when I throw that dart, I'm able to analyze wherever it hits, how I want to throw it again on the very next try. It may not hit that bullseye. And if it doesn't hit that bullseye, I think to myself, I got to course correct. I need to figure out how I can better hit that. And then keep analyzing that as you go forward. So that's what goal setting is. You got to know your destination so that way you can figure out what you need to do to get to that point. Now, a lot of people are like, Dale, how does this have to do anything with researching profitable niches? Stay with me. I just want to hit these few pain points and I'm going to really, really cover it. Next thing is DMO. You hear me say this from time to time, and some of my students even heard me say this, daily method of operation. You need to have some type of a daily method of operation, something that gets you from point A to point B. Some people will call this a to-do list. That's fine if you call it a to-do list. I call it my DMO. I have one on my desk, and it actually has everything that I want to do. And this is broken down according to the priorities of my specific goals. I've got a goal. I want to do X amount of publications over the course of the next year. Okay, I need to kind of work backwards from there. What do I need to do to get to that, say, one publication per month? Well, I need to see about creating one publication per month. All right, so how long is each one of those books? Is it 10,000 words? Is it 100,000 words? I need to break those down into smaller bits. So that DMO is going to help you understand. It's your directions. It's the way that you can navigate from one day to the next and know exactly what your priority is. I put my priority at the very top, the strongest one, and the least strongest priority at the very bottom of them. And from one day to the next, I keep revolving that list, and I get it to where I know from one day to the next what I'm going to be doing. Now, there's going to come some days when you're like, I don't feel like messing with this. It's okay. Put a pen into it and come back to it another day. It's all right to actually just give it a pause every now and then. The most important thing, folks, is you need to have clear, actionable, and measurable results. Okay? Actionable steps and measurable results. Easy for me to say. Because vague goals equal vague results. Remember that. You can say to yourself, well, I want to be successful in self-publishing. What is that? I mean, is it publishing a single book? I can help you with that. That's super simple. Or is it making 10 grand per month publishing books? Or is it $1,000 a month part-time over the next year? Get specific about what you're going to do with your goals, because just saying, I just want to make money. Well, that's great. Burger King's hiring. There's so many ways you can make money. I need you to get dialed in on what you're going to do. And you don't need to share it with me by any stretch. And you don't need to, feel obligated to that. Okay? It's just a good thing to have that out there and get it to where you know where you're going, why you're going there, and how you'll feel when you get there. All right. Let's go over to the path of least resistance, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about low sales and how we can address those with researching profitable niches. The path of least resistance, folks, this is the people that think about the easy button, the get rich quick in self-publishing. If anybody tells you this business is easy, hold on to your wallet, guide it into your back pocket and guard it. There you go. And you'll want to make sure that you understand that this is not a get-rich-quick business. There are some folks that are exception to the rule, but they're unicorns. There are some people that get into this business 30 days in and they're crushing it, $2,500 per month, 10 grand per month, 15, 20. That's awesome. That's fantastic. They are the exception to the rule. So I don't want to dissuade you into thinking that self-publishing business is not worth it. It certainly is, but you're going to have to work it. You're going to have to put in the work. So what I'd recommend is identify your passion or something you can confidently get behind for a long time to come. The reason I say this is you might look at something like a niche like adult baby diaper romance. By the way, it totally is real. Adult baby diaper lover, ABDL as it's called by the insiders. I don't dig this type of content, but there is a voracious reading audience of this type of content. And you can make a pretty substantial living at producing this type of content. But can you imagine? Worst case scenario. You go and you do one inside a niche that you really don't care about. Okay? Worst case scenario. Then you're stuck. with this scab, with this work that you don't like doing. But can you imagine if you did enjoy something like Werebear Shapeshifter Romance, or car repair manuals, or any type of thing? Imagine if you just at least either had it as a passion of yours, or you can confidently get behind it. So for instance, not that I've done this before, I enjoy watching things about real estate investing. It's just fascinating to me. I just like consuming that type of content. I could probably get into that and maybe even find some good freelance writers to build a brand around that. However, you couldn't get me to save my life into ABDL. It's not something I enjoy. I can only imagine. I wouldn't care about it. I don't care. So that would suck if I'm stuck with ABDL. But if I was stuck with a publication that was about real estate investing, at least during the course of me publishing this book, I probably would enjoy the process. I would enjoy reading the content. I would enjoy promoting and marketing this stuff. The best case scenario. Here we go. Let's talk about the best case scenario. I like to be optimistic. Let's say your book succeeds. All right. We'll say my real estate investing example here. It succeeds. Man, I get to publish stuff that I enjoy, that I'm somewhat passionate about, and it succeeds. It crushes it. This is where I think would be very rewarding, because I'm doing something that I enjoy and I'm getting rewarded for it. And then I'm not regretting having to spend more time on it. Here's where I say why you're not regretting this. Because the thing is, you imagine if you had this ABDL, let's just pretend. Some people will be like, I would kill for that, Dale. That'd be awesome. Let's say you're getting 10 grand per month on ABDL, but you just hate it. You like the paychecks. It's great. But can you imagine? You have to keep marketing and promoting this. You'd have to keep putting out more iterations underneath this brand. You have to keep growing it. And after a while, it just becomes a paycheck. And you're going to learn that in due time, when you just try to go after that paycheck, you start to resent the stuff that you're doing. This is why I try to tell people, go for that passion, or go for something that at least interests you. So now you see why I'm shifting and why I'm kind of talking about researching profitable niches, because before we start talking about researching it, those are two things I try to tell people. It's get those two things dialed in. Are you passionate about it, or are you at least interested in it? Because if you aren't, you're chasing after the dollars. And the dollars should be chasing after you. You shouldn't be running after that, because it's so disheartening. Let's say you finally get that dollar amount down. Again, you're going to eventually live to resent that thing. So let's talk about low sales. Let's make that hard shift. We're going to take that hard left here. It all starts with researching the market. What do you like? Yep, I'm going back to the wellness one, talking about passion or something you're interested in. What do you like? Because you're going to be more susceptible to enjoying the content that you're going to be producing. I was talking to a young self-publisher the other day in video chat. This was a great conversation. And I can't say his name because I didn't ask for permission, but I found that he was actually a Google AdWords expert. I was like, dude, that's phenomenal. Have you put anything out on that? And he's like, no, I never thought about it. I was like, do you enjoy doing your job? Absolutely. I'm like, you are insane. Why aren't you taking advantage? That would be like me. I'm into fitness. I'm a former personal trainer. I used to work with senior citizens in the healthcare industry, even doing fitness with them. It would be nuts that I wouldn't share that passion with the world. And thankfully, I did take advantage of that, and it's really paid off in spades over these years. So think about what you like first. Now, the thing is, who likes it too? It's not enough that you're passionate about it or that you're interested in it. It's even more important that you find the audience that likes it too. So this is where you're going to, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the bestseller rank here in just a minute. You need proof of concept. It's not enough that you like it or that you share your cover or the idea that you have with friends and family and they like it. You need to have an actual market to send it to, because otherwise it's going to be an uphill battle. It's already an uphill battle, but you're making even more of a steep drive up this hill in order to actually meet your goals. Next thing is, where does your audience congregate? So you decided, what did you like? You researched who likes it too. Where does this audience congregate? This is so important. And a lot of people skip this. They don't think about social media. Man, social media, there's so many ways you can make it, shake it, or bake it. There's so many different viable options, but sometimes people make the mistake in thinking that their audience lies on all of those platforms. It's not true. It's not. You're going to have to really study and take your time. And I'm not going to go into the full studying of social media where you're going to find all your different reading audiences. Just do your due diligence. Chances are, if you're passionate about what you're going to be talking about, or at least semi-interested, you might have a pretty good clue as to where the audience is already congregating. Why do you want to know where they're at? Because you want to start connecting with them. Before you write chapter 1, you need to have already started breaking ground with people and getting to know them and making an authentic and genuine relationship. Because when you get ready to launch your book, you can probably have a little bit of help with beta reading. Maybe you can find somebody that will look at your covers, give you some feedback, take a look at your copy page, give you recommendations on pricing. You shouldn't do this whole journey on your own. And that's why I say find where your audience is congregating. The next thing is, here we go. Here comes the meat of what I was going to talk about today. It is gather the keywords and common search phrases. Now, because this is a podcast, it's kind of tough for me to kind of verbally walk you through this and how you're finding the keywords. But generally speaking, if you're, once again, passionate about it or semi-interested, you probably know a few buzzwords within that specific niche that you can use for your research. So here's a general overview. You go over to Amazon, preferably open up incognito browser, so that way it's not a dirty research that you're doing. You want to make sure it's clean as possible. So you open up your browser in incognito mode, go to Amazon, get into the Kindle store or the bookstore. Start to type in your specific keyword and don't press enter. Allow the auto-suggest to populate and show you what is commonly searched for on the Amazon marketplace. And this is going to give you a plethora of options. Now, if you go real obscure, then chances are pretty likely you probably aren't going to have very many auto-suggestions. But just as an example, you can try this when you get the opportunity. You're in front of a computer. Go to Amazon, open the Kindle store, start to type in something simple like workout or exercise or fitness. I promise you, it's going to auto-suggest a lot. It's going to populate tons there. And it's going to give you an idea of what the Amazon marketplace is generally looking for there. So once you find a specific keyword that you're happy with and it seems relevant to the specific book that you're going to be getting into, we're going to go ahead and press that enter. We're going to select that. What I'm looking for in the first page results, I pay attention to the first 16 books that show up. I'm looking at the bestseller rank. Now, the bestseller rank is representative of its placement in chronological order, if you will, of importance, of what's driving the most sales or page reads on a given day in a given moment. I'm looking for the specific keyword to actually place really well with a BSR of about 100,000 or less. Anything above 100,000, I'm going to tell you, unless you have scores upon scores of books in the 100,000s, you're not going to make a very good living, going above that rank. But for less competition, though, I would recommend getting the sweet spot between 30,000 and 100,000, the BSR. Now, the BSR, bestseller rank, is going to be the general overall, okay? There's going to be the niches and the categories that go below each one of those. So that way it kind of compartmentalizes. Think like the Dewey Decimal System or the categorization inside the libraries that, you have fitness books over in here in this aisle and you've got cookbooks over right next to it, so on and so forth. And the same thing's going to work when it comes to the categories and niches. So what exactly is 30,000, by the way? Just to kind of clarify, It's roughly about 10 ebook sales per day, and give or take a couple here and there when it comes to the print books. By the way, I did look up this information at the book sales calculator. You can actually access that on the kindlepreneur.com. Actually, head over to dalelinks.com/calculator. If you go to dalelinks.com/calculator, you see a specific rank. You're kind of like going, how many books do I need to sell per day for this? You can actually get a general idea. Remember, this is not, it's not down to a science, but they do give some pretty good recommendations when it comes to that. But once again, when I'm looking at some of these niches, I want to really dial it in. So I got you to do the keywords. You entered it in there. You looked in. It's like, okay, I found a good keyword that's got some books between 30,000 and 100,000. It's averaging right inside there. When I say averaging, those 16 titles, when you average out their bestseller rank, just take each one of the bestseller ranks, add them all together, divide it by 16. And you get your answer as far as the average. So the average will be placed there. Looks good. Select one of the titles. Scroll down. You're going to go into the product details and you will see the categories. Now, they used to have full what's called browse paths, but now they've kind of collapsed it down. Amazon made it hard for us, but they were trying to make it easier for the customers to kind of understand. If you're ever concerned about how to find that browse path or that niche, what you got to do is just click that given category in the product details, and it'll open up the bestsellers list for that specific one. So let's just say, for instance, it's ab workouts. We'll just say ab workouts. You looked up one of my books, it's ab workouts. Click on that. It goes into the bestseller list for this, and it'll show you the top 20, 25, something like that on the very first page. And you're going to look to the left-hand side. And on the left-hand side, by the way, this is only on desktop. This is not on mobile. And you look on the left-hand side, you will see the browse paths individually broke down. It'll be something like Kindle bookstore. It'll be health, fitness, and dieting. And then, aerobic workouts, and then ab workouts. That's a browse path. That's the niche. And that's going to be something you're going to want to make sure you copy on a separate spreadsheet and save it, because you're going to eventually need to submit those after you've published your title. So that way they're listed in each one of those niches. Pay attention to these specific niches. Again, it's the same kind of a rule that I think about when I look at a bestseller list for a specific niche. If I see the number one placement is 300,000 in the paid Kindle store instead of the bookstore, deuces, I'm good. I mean, that's like going in and fighting a toddler. Could I win? Absolutely. Should I be going there? Probably not. Chances are likely either A, it's a brand new browse path of some sort, or B, the audience has voted with their checkbook and they've decided that they don't want this specific niche. Now, if you're still passionate about it and you see that number one's at 300,000, go for it. If I see, though, the number one, let's say, is 30,000, 35,000, maybe we'll push it up, 26,000. I'm going, okay, all right, I got a dog in this fight. I feel like I can definitely break into this one. And then I skip down to the top 10 and I skip down to the top 20 and I just try to see what their ranks are. And I think in my head, okay, how many books would I have to sell per day in order to take that spot? You will look at their given rank. So number 20 in ab workouts might be at, we'll say, 150,000. Done deal. I can definitely sell about 5 books per day. And I would be able to take that spot. And I want to move up. And the whole purpose of moving your way up in a specific bestsellers list, in a specific niche, in a specific browse path, is to get more visibility, more discoverability, and gain relevance for your given keywords and your categories in the Amazon algorithm. Because that's the name of the game, is relevance, folks. Alrighty. I want to tell you, this is a dead simple process. You may have to kind of go back through and listen to this again and kind of study this to make your life easier, folks. I do what I do. I honestly, it's been forever and a day, and except for when I have to kind of go through and do these type podcasts, I have to kind of kind of walk through it and go, okay, am I doing this right? Okay, yeah, okay. I just have to remind myself, but I make it easy. I just get Publisher Rocket, folks. You hear me talk about Publisher Rocket on a number of occasions, and you're like, Dale, you're such a shill. Listen, I only endorse products that I use and wholeheartedly get behind. And if you want to get yourself access to it as well, head over to dalelinks.com/rocket. You could go and troll about for the best keywords and the best categories. Or you can simply just get Rocket and just go ahead and let it do the research for you and skip to the chase and get all the stuff you can get. And by all means, like what I'm doing right now, I record this on a Saturday, even though it's posted on a Monday. When I record this on a Saturday, as soon as I'm done, it's not the brightest, sunshiniest day outside. I'm going to go out for a walk. Why? Because I've got this resource, and I recommend that you do this for yourself as well. Head over to dalelinks.com/rocket. Generally speaking, when you do get Rocket, you're going to want to look for a specific keyword. When you're doing your keyword research, you're going to look for something that has a competition score of 40 or less. This one actually comes directly from Dave Chesson himself. You're going to get a better likelihood of having first page placement with competition score of 40 or less. You're probably saying, well, that's Greek to me, Dale. Believe it or not, you can get all those details if you go over, check it out, that specific link I just told you about. For me, I try to also pay attention to the average monthly profits on a given keyword. And typically, I kind of like to have something. It gets me out of the bed in the morning if I know that it's getting about an average monthly earnings of about $500 per month. Now, what does this have to do with the categories? Sort of, not really. With the categories, you can search up categories really simple. They have a categories feature, and you could search for specific keywords, and it'll give you the exact browse paths. And you can organize it according to how competitive each one of those categories are. So that way, you can give yourself the unfair advantage in getting those categories and getting your book listed into those categories, and hopefully start to crush it in your self-publishing business. Well, folks, that was a lot of information. Ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, am I gonna be able to do this today? I think I did it. And if you find that you have any kind of questions, concerns, or comments, hit me on up over at dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com. I also want to let you know that today's podcast is brought to you in part by the DIY Publishing Course Unlimited. This is the most comprehensive self-publishing course you will find on the market today. Today, bar none. I pulled out all stops. If you want to kind of see exactly all the things that I obsess over, that I live, breathe, eat, sleep when it comes to self-publishing, you ever kind of go, man, I really want to know exactly everything he knows? I gave you that and more inside the DIY Publishing Course Unlimited. To get access, you're going to head over to visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to the DIY Publishing course. And folks, please do me a huge favor. Subscribe to me on the Self Publishing with Dale podcast on Apple Podcasts and leave a little review. That would be awesome if you did that. I really would appreciate it. Big banana sticker if you do that. In the meantime and in between time, this has been Self Publishing with Dale, and I